Hello, and thank you for joining us for another discussion to prepare you for the general election in the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Beta Pi Omega chapter, Your Voice, Your Ballot series. I'm Stephanie Jackson, Connection Committee Chairman, which is charged with voter engagement and education. And for this discussion, Michael Poore, Superintendent of the Little Rock School District, is here to explain the millage proposal that you will see on your ballot. Superintendent Poore, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you, and so appreciate this effort to get the word out.
Yes. So we're going to just go ahead and jump right in. This is regarding the millage extension proposal on the ballot. If you will just first explain what is a millage. I think some people are misinformed about what that even is.
Well, I'll start with the basic idea is this is not an increase on anyone's property taxes. That's the most important thing to share. So the rate of how much you're taxed on your individual property will not change. This is an effort to extend our debt service mills. So it's much like a house that you have that is, you're doing a second mortgage. And when you do that, you extend your payments. In this bond market right now, you'd actually drop your payment and possibly put some money in your pocket. The same thing can happen within the district with a debt service mill extension, in that we refinance existing bonds, and that allows us to pay over a longer period of time. In this case, an additional 18 years would be added. We would actually, in the current bond market, lower our bond payment, and a conservative estimate is that we generate over $200 million. Again, the key thing is it does not change an individual's property tax. The only way that that property tax would change in this current situation is if the county, through its assessment, decided to increase the value of a person's home. That could change it, but this would not. So it's a refinance is the easiest way to approach the concept.
Okay, that explains it very clearly. Thank you. And so tell us a little bit about what this millage would support, or what it currently supports.
Well, it's a very good question. The idea here first is that the voters of Little Rock School District have not made any adjustment in terms of additional income or additional revenue is a better way to word it, into the district since 1999. In the meantime, we have buildings that are over 60 years of age. So the idea of extending the debt service would allow us to generate well over $200 million, which then could go towards really improving learning environments, making for safer and healthier environments, and finally also making it so that we be more competitive with our neighbors. Additionally, when you think about $200 million coming in, that's jobs. And we're very proud within the Little Rock School District that when we have taken on projects, at least during my tenure, and I believe even before that, we've hired local contractors and we've hired minority contractors to help us move forward. And so the investment that would happen, it's going to make life better for kids, going to make improved teaching environments, and it puts money into our economy. When we looked at this previously, the University of Arkansas at Little Rock had shared that for every dollar we generate with projects like this, it actually has a 1.8 multiplier out into the community. So the positivity of this, when you think of $200 million coming into our economy of construction projects, it puts people to work and it has a residual effect in other aspects. The projects themselves, and just to be honest with you, we've received some criticism even on this just the fact sheet that many of you are looking at right now, where it says the superintendent recommended projects. And people want more detail, and I get that, but the unique aspect about this is that the new elected board, which Little Rock School District has not had a board for over 5 years, the new elected board will be the ones that actually prioritize the projects and make the decisions. So as a superintendent, you don't want to get ahead of your board. And so we tried to generate a list that's common sense. One of the things that has to happen is that we've got to come in and tear down McClellan and build a new K-8 in the Southwest. So there's a definite commitment to continue to improve the Southwest. The new campus would move Cloverdale to that new K-8. And Cloverdale is one of the worst campuses that we have in terms of a facility, in terms of just its overall health. And it has, the building is structurally not as sound as anyone would like. And there are a variety of other issues. So we need to move Cloverdale. We'd also shrink our footprint by moving 2 elementaries into that new K-8. After that, you can see that there's a list of things that I will be recommending in terms of improvement on high school campuses. As an example, Parkview is a magnet for art, yet our auditorium needs a lot of tender loving care to make it even an improved facility. Hall, we want to continue to make sure that Hall moves forward. And there are things on that campus that are newer, but there's other parts of that campus that really need support, and it needs to tie into the new Ford NGL concept that we're working with the chamber and surrounding school districts. Finally, you look in the high school and you think about Central with all the portables and a campus that's obviously one of our oldest campuses. We could probably spend all $200 million right there at Central, but that won't happen. We'll do kind of a phased approach to looking at how we tackle Central. After that, you can see that a lot of the projects that we're looking at are things to, again, improve the learning environments, improve lighting, LED lighting. That investment makes the campuses a better learning environment for students, but it also creates a cost savings eventually because you're shrinking your utility bill. We know that HVAC systems have to be replaced so that we have better air quality. And obviously in this pandemic, that's something that we'd love to do. And then technology is probably the other big category that we have. Many of our smart board technology was purchased in 2009 and 10. And if you think about it within your own home, how many of us have kept a TV since 2009? We've gone to smart TVs and HD TVs. We need to enhance our technology. And again, it improves the learning environments and it helps us with competing with surrounding school districts.
Mm-hmm. That's all very important information for people watching this to know. Now, if this doesn't pass, what happens? What does the district, start planning to do, or tell us a little bit about what happens if this does not pass?
I'm going to take advantage of your question, Stephanie, and just share that, I think there's been some criticism where people say, well, it seems so fast. Well, when you have a situation within the environment of lending that's so attractive, it would almost be criminal if we didn't come forward with a proposal right now. It's the same thing if you're a homeowner and you haven't looked at, what your mortgage rate, interest rate is, and haven't looked at it, you could be taking money out of your own pocket. You have to act, and you need to do it as quickly as possible before the market changes. So we feel like this is a smart thing in terms of utilizing our community resources and addressing issues that have been with us and identified. Clear back in 2014, the Board of Education shared that we had over $300 million worth of needs. Those needs, we've knocked off a few things. That's on that just the fact sheet. But there's, again, buildings that are older, cost of construction's gone up. So we've got to do that. If we don't move forward on these things, what we'll have to do is we're going to have to come back and ask for this at another time. And, that may be a time when we don't yield as good of a benefit from refinancing these bonds. Right now is a perfect time. And I think that anyone that's in the financial group, whether it's within your organization or within our community, would back and support that.
Okay. Superintendent Poore, is there anything else that we need to know about this millage extension?
I think that one of the things I do want to reinforce that has in some ways been misconstrued within the media group is the state has no role in this. They didn't have a role in it in terms of making the decision. It was actually the Stevens group that came forward and said, Mike and Kelsey Bailey, our chief financial officer, we've got to tell you, you've got to really look at refinancing your bonds and do a debt service extension because the market's so favorable. And then we did take it to our community advisory board, then took it to the commissioner for approval because he still acts as the board. But if the voters approve this in November, it then becomes the new locally elected board, the new 9 members that we as a community select. They will actually be the ones that will be making the decisions of the prioritization of those projects. So a heavy responsibility will fall into their laps, which is what you want in terms of governance, of having a local board get to make decisions about what projects we move forward on.
And that ties back to a discussion we had earlier this summer, actually, with Dr. Jay Barth, who is, as you know, the city's chief education officer, who helped step us through some of the issues that the school board will take on. This was one of them. And so this discussion is a really good follow-up to that, and having a lot more time to explain what a millage is, what this proposal would do, what it would impact. And so thank you so much for being here with us. And you can look for this, as I mentioned earlier. We will be posting this to our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We want to make sure that we get the word out about this this proposal that is on the ballot. So thank you very much.
Well, and I thank you. And, you know, I hope that everyone has a lens within any of the elected positions about education. So I want to put a personal bend on that, whether you're thinking about it within the presidential race, whether you're thinking about it with congressional delegates, state delegates for legislative seats, city directors, and then obviously school board candidates, to put the lens of giving a thought about what's best in terms of education, because that's our future. And I believe that the package that we're putting together really helps drive Little Rock School District into an improved setting for education, more healthy environment. So appreciate your time today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And this was a good discussion, and we hope that people are more informed about what they'll see on their ballot.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.